Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckle Show, and today is a very special episode of this show because I have set my time machine so that Mr. Knuckles here disappears in exactly 3 seconds. So, let's count down. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I haven't disappeared. Experiment gone wrong.
Oh, damn it! Hello and welcome!
Speaking of experiments, right, we're gonna get straight into it. This is my favorite franchise. The rubber gloves that the professor uses is the rubber gloves my mum would use to wash dishes. Those yellow gloves. And he's conducting nuclear experiments with them. Slightly mental. What's going on here? And then the toaster's burning scene. You just know the first franchise just sets it. It is so cool. First, second, third are equally as good as each other. And this is the first time I think I've ever said that all three are equally brilliant. You cannot separate them. They are superb. I loved it when they were actually in the future of the future. So 2015. But 1985, 55, 2015. Yes. They had Jaws 19.
Yes.
Jaws 19.
This time it's really
Jaws,
personal.
That's it.
Having
Jaws
the worst
19.
fake-looking shark
However,
that they could find.
Jaws 19 is not released yet and it's 2021.
Yeah, but Sharknado 19 is also not gonna come. They stopped after the 6th.
No, but it was so good. Like, it was just brilliant. They had hoverboards, well, those skateboardy, hoverboardy things. It was, yeah, I loved all three of them.
You know what? I lived through 2015 and I was so disgruntled that not even self-lacing shoes have been invented.
Fun fact, he lived through 2015. That is a fun fact. That's a fact. You had to say it. It's 2021. You're
Yes.
still alive. Kind of makes sense.
Come on, you cannot fault me for this. The first thing you say when you talk about Back to the Future is some gloves.
I also have another thing to say. How can the professor look exactly the same? How do they look the same? Surely their body, like, is it because you're time traveling, your body doesn't age the same time as the clock is ticking, or is that a loophole? I don't know. Or is that like a physics thing?
I don't know. If you want to start with a Glover, I will start with a Glover.
Okay, we are
Crispin
starting with
Glover,
Glover.
who
Okay.
plays George.
Oh.
I made it funny. Who plays George McFly, actually has this nervous persona in the film also because he was very nervous. This was one of his first acting roles, and sometimes even his voice got lost because he was so nervous when he had to perform. So this was basically then worked into the character. But apart from this, I have 2 character things that I want to say, because I always like to imagine films that I like with other actors. So for Christopher Lloyd's part, originally considered would have been the amazing John Lithgow, one of my all-time favorite actors, the villain in Cliffhanger, the amazing guy in The Third Rock from the Sun, the TV sitcom where Joseph Gordon-Levitt started to become cool and famous. And for Marty, they even had Eric Stoltz acting in a few scenes. You can even see
they did.
the back
After
of
6
his
weeks,
head
he got fired.
in a few shots in the first one. He got fired because it just didn't work out. No. Even Thomas Wilson, the actor who plays Biff Tannen, said that he was a method actor. And I have to point out one thing. I understand method acting, you know. If you're like Daniel Day-Lewis and you're acting as Lincoln, of course you want to stay in character as much as possible so that your performance doesn't get estranged by the movie-making process. But when you're acting in Back to the Future, when you're Marty McFly, I don't think that this is necessary to go full-on method
Charlie Sheen
acting.
and Johnny Depp also gave auditions for Marty.
Yes, and the producers of the film,
Imagine
they
Johnny
found out.
Depp as Marty.
The thing is, they only found out that Johnny Depp has auditioned for the role by reading it.
Oh, really?
By accident. And then they were like, oh, he mustn't have been too good because we completely forgot that we auditioned him. But okay, let's drop the behind-the-scenes things. Let's talk about the movies. I personally am not a great time travel movie fan because everything that you do with time travel usually comes out as a plot hole 101. Because it's hard to pull off a time traveling movie without you have created a time paradox.
Yeah, but this
with Back to the Future, I think they made it.
They nailed it.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Only surpassed by the second one. So I think, in my personal opinion, Back to the Future 2 is a much better film than the first one, simply for the fact that it basically took the time travel concept of the first movie and then added another layer over this, even having to have a cinematographical process where the same actor would have to talk to himself, which is very hard to pull off. And I loved the fact that they visited the same scenes, the same things in the second movie than they did in the first, to basically show, okay,
they
this
couldn't
was
in the first because it was the first.
But this is the scene from the first movie, but then you see that some subtle things that happened in the background were actually triggered by other time-traveling people, and since the script wasn't written at the time, these were sometimes coincidences, with Christopher Lloyd wearing the same things as the future Doc Brown and some random passerby in the first movie, which they acknowledged that they didn't do on purpose. That just happened. But I love the fact that how closely they must have embraced this film in order to make this as good as it is. So I love the first, but I think it's a great time travel concept, but it's just surpassed by the second one because it just takes it one step beyond. Your point.
I get it. However, I have one question. In the third movie, when the electric cable is unplugged and Doc comes down, plugs it again, it's live electricity with rain. How did he not get electrocuted? This is my question. This is my only question. The rest of it is brilliant. I think, you know what? They perfected it by not making a fourth. Don't ruin something that ended so brilliantly. I kind of felt sad that the third ended. The goodbyes were made between Doc and Marty, and I wonder if they will ever meet again. Maybe they can make a series out of it. This would be epic. Well, they did. Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is pretty much this.
This is basically this.
Rick and Morty. But it's brilliant. 3 perfected movies. Blended very well. And third one went off a little bit, but they came back, and that was cool. That was cool.
I have to say, I like this one. I love this one. This exists. I am not a fan of the third movie. I have to make this clear, because just like I just said, I love the way how they got beyond the concept of the first with the second, and then the third is just a very straightforward time travel movie with one different layer of, okay, we're going to the Wild West, but still, I mean, I know that this has to be intentional, film history wise, but the set of this old western town looks like cardboard boxes from a 1958 western movie that they did with a budget of $50,000. It looks cheaper. You can see that they used more CGI and more visual effects for the third one than for any other film before, and you can see it because the technology wasn't perfected. This takes you out of the immersion in this context, and also, personally, I'm just not a big Western fan. I fell asleep during The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I didn't really like Django, and all of this. These are great movies, but for some reason, whenever something is set in the dusty West, Wild Wild West, I fall asleep.
Yeah, but look, first one is going in the past, second one is going in the future, third one could be any time zone, could be medieval, Tudors, it could be World War, it could be West, anything. So even in space, actual space, but this is it. The movies are great. It is a very, very enjoyable experience.
It is.
Definitely watch it.
The third, I have to say.
Definitely watch it.
I have to say, when I rate this 4.5 out of 5, this 5 out of 5, and this 3 out of 5, it's still a good film. Or 3.5. It's still a good film. It is a good film, but it is so much worse.
Second one is better than the first one. First one is better than the third one. But the third one is not a bad film. Third one is not a bad film.
Kind of sours the whole experience.
Yeah.
But tell us what you think. Tell us right down in the comments what you think about the Back to the Future trilogy. This was our ramblings for this week. Next week we'll see you guys again with a brand new episode of the Pork and Knuckles Show. So,
take care.